Hi, welcome to ZGadget Review. One of the huge changes for the Pixel line of devices this year is software, and within that software is AI. There is a lot of AI included on this phone. I'm going to say that this is probably the first AI driven device in the market. It has a lot of things that it does, again, based on AI. And there's more features that are coming that are not available yet that should be coming by the end of the year that are also AI centric. Another thing that Google has announced when they announced these devices is that this phone is going to support 7 years of security patches and also feature drops. But let me give you some hardware specs. As you can see, the Pixel 8 Pro does not look much different than previous devices. It's keeping that design language of prior models where we have kind of that pill-shaped camera. I will say that it goes back to the Pixel 6 Pro design more than keeping what the Pixel 7 Pro did. The back of the device includes a new truly gimmicky thermometer. I don't know if anybody was asking for a thermometer on their phone, but here we have one. The color of the phone that I have is black, and I will say a dark gray bezel and camera housing. The back of the phone they're calling satin, but I will call more of a matte color. As you can see there, it's not very shiny. And it's really good because it doesn't keep your fingerprints on it. It feels good in the hand. It's not super big. It does feel slippery without a case on it. So if you're going to get this phone, my recommendation is to have a case because this will definitely slip off your hands and hit the ground. It has an upgraded display, starting with the display finally being flat. We no longer have those curved edges. The screen measures 6.7 inches at 1344 by 2992. The screen has a 20:9 aspect ratio. It is an LTPO OLED display and it maxes out at 2400 nits of brightness. It of course supports high refresh rates of 120 Hz. The display this year is being called Super Actua by Google, and I was so surprised how bright this display was. Out of the box, it was a 60 or 64%, I can't remember correctly, but it was in the 60% range of brightness. And when I turned the phone on, I was very surprised at how bright that screen was compared to the Pixel 7 Pro. I didn't notice that until I had this phone and I put them side to side, and I noticed what a big difference of brightness it does. And I've kept this phone at 60%. Brightness is great. If you put it all the way up to 100%, it feels like it's an overkill when it comes to brightness. The colors on the display are punchy and the contrast is really good. When you're watching HDR content, the display does a great job at HDR brightness. I mean, it's something that you gotta see. Now let's talk about that thermometer in the back. Let's get it out of the way. It is a gimmick. It is a waste of technology on the phone. I really don't understand why it's there. Oh, and right now it only works for objects. You cannot measure temperature of your skin yet. I'm assuming that they're waiting for FDA clearance in order to activate that feature, because otherwise I don't really understand what it's there for. Because what I was going to say is if you put your hand over something that's hot, you can tell that something's hot by putting your hand. This needs to be close enough to that surface in order to give you the temperature. So if you're looking for something that's cold or hot, you can really tell by putting your hand over something. If you are taking temperature measurements of things, I don't know why you would use a phone to do that when I'm sure you will have better equipment. So I really don't understand why it's here. Let's quickly talk about the under display fingerprint sensor. It works pretty fast. So I put my finger here, it unlocks. You have to keep your finger for couple of seconds for it to do it. If I touch, it's not going to do it. So I have to go 1, 2, and then it goes. In my opinion, it does work a lot faster than it did in previous devices. I think the issue of the fingerprint sensor that the Pixel 6 Pro, the Pixel 7 Pro to an extent had have been completely fixed. The front-facing camera unlock has also been fixed, and we don't need to have a whole array of sensors and things here on the top taking space. You keep that front-facing camera, still the punch hole camera, and now it actually is very fast at unlocking your phone with your face. Not only that, but you can also use it to unlock other apps. For example, I use it when I'm reloading my Starbucks app. Instead of using my fingerprint sensor, I can use my face and it'll approve the transaction. Another thing that I tested with the face unlock is if it would unlock the phone if my eyes were closed. And I'm happy to report that it didn't work. Every time I close my eyes and I try to unlock the phone and I will look at the phone, it will have a message saying there that it could not recognize my face. Let's test it out with a picture of me. Here we're going to start the phone and put it there, and it's not working. So it says here, cannot recognize, use fingerprint. As you saw there, it doesn't work using a picture either. Let's move to the inside of the phone. The phone comes with Google's Tensor G3, so the third generation on their chip. It comes with 12 gigs of RAM. This particular phone that I got, it comes with 128 gigs of storage, but you can actually get it all the way to 1 terabyte in the US. It has a 5050 milliamp hour battery, and the battery actually works great. I've had no issues with battery life on this device, and I haven't had issues where I've run out of battery within the 8-hour period of my workday, which is usually how I gauge batteries. Of course, while doing the review, I let the phone completely drain to see how long it will take to charge. And if you have a 30-watt charger, it charges pretty fast. It can hit up to 50% in 30 minutes. And so usually it charges within the hour. In chargers that are less powerful, it takes up to an hour and a half. Now let's talk cameras, because of course, being a Pixel device, being a Google phone, cameras matter. And of course, we're going to be seeing a lot of software with those cameras that the sensors on here are good, but a big chunk of the heavy lifting is done by software and everything else that you can do when you take those pictures, when you're editing the pictures in the phone using AI. In the back, we have a 50 megapixel wide camera. We have a 48 megapixel ultra wide camera with autofocus, a 48 megapixel telephoto camera. Now, within those cameras on the Pixel 8 Pro, you can choose a new option. That's the Pro option. And what that means is that you can make sure that when you're taking a picture, you're using the 50 megapixel camera instead of, letting the phone decide which one is going to use. You also have new this year in another Pro option that allows you to actually use the camera, technically use it manually, right? You can set your ISO, you can set your shutter speed, white balance, and other features like you will do on a regular camera. Instead of letting the phone choose, the settings when it's going to take the picture, you can do all that yourself on the phone. Now let's look at some examples of images, and let's look at what it looks like when you're taking a picture using the regular, non-pro mode, and when you're doing the 50 megapixel pro mode. Here we have pictures taken using the 12 megapixel mode or the regular mode to show you what the zoom looks like. pictures. So the first one you're seeing is the maximum zoom. And here you can see the detail between the 50 megapixel camera and the 12 megapixel camera. Then we have one that is set at medium zoom. So I took this picture at 15 times zoom, and here I'm zooming into the image to show you the huge difference between one and the other. And this is on the Pixel 8 Pro. So we have the 50 megapixel camera showing you all the detail that can capture with the windows down there and what looks like smoke pipe spray. Is not what that is. But you can see the detail between the 12 megapixel and the 50 megapixel. The 50 megapixel having a huge difference when you are taking pictures using that camera. Let's take a look at some portrait pictures. Here, the first one we have is using the back camera. And if you notice, it does a pretty good job at creating the bokeh effect. But for some reason, around the leaves on top of my head, the bokeh effect disappears. It's not there anymore. And I'm not really sure why. Here we have the front-facing camera, and here we can see that it does a better job. It doesn't have any issues around the leaves. It does a good contour around me and my shirt and my hair. When we move to things, this is using the back camera. It does a really good job again at blurring around the objects. Let's look at some macro pictures. Here we have busted up camera lens coming courtesy from an iPhone. Here we have a little bit of a closer look to give you an idea of what a macro picture looks like. And here's a picture of what the phone looks like from a regular distance where you're not using macro. Now moving on to night side. I took this picture here without using night side in my kitchen. The kitchen didn't have any light. I had some light coming from the living room. So that's why it's pretty dark. I haven't made any changes to this image. And then the next picture that we're going to see here is using the back camera, using night side. As you can see, it looks pretty good. You can see me a lot better, of course. But once we get closer to it, you'll see that you lose some of that detail around my beard. You know, that looks kind of drawn, I will say. And the same thing around my eyebrows. It kind of loses detail when you are using night side. And now here we have a picture using the front-facing camera. Same thing, using night side in the same place. It's not as bright as the other picture. Also, I will say it has a warmer tone than the other picture. But I think the loss of detail here, it's a lot worse than when you use the back camera. And so as you can see here, all that detail loss around my beard, my eyebrows, my hair. So while night side is good to take pictures in a dark area, it can still use some improvements. I feel like some video features are not as good as they were last year. For example, video stabilization. There are times that I was taking video while walking where the video was very shaky and I had it on the regular video stabilization. I didn't have it on action video stabilization, which is another setting when you have a lot of movement. I didn't think it was as good doing that cinematic blur, which what that means is it blurs the background while you are pressing on your screen on the subject to keep the subject in focus. And I did it with Benson, the dog. And of course, dogs don't really stay still. And I noticed that at times when the dog moved, the camera will lose that blur effect. And so I feel that if you were doing it on a person as well, and the person was probably moving in the frame, you will have the same issue, which means that the person will probably have to stay looking at the camera without much movement, which kind of sucks because on the Pixel 7 Pro, when I did that test, I did it with me and I moved on the frame a little bit and I never really lost that blur effect in the background. So that doesn't look as good as it was on the previous device, which of course can be fixed with software updates. But let me show you some video that I took. Here I am doing this testing of the phone, and right now I'm using the back camera to shoot this video to see if there's any movement while I'm walking around and moving around. I'm doing it in 24 frames per second. It's of course 4K, and I also have the speech enhancement activated. Here I'm walking Benson, the dog, and I have the camera still set at 4K 24 frames per second, and I am on a 2 times zoom on the camera because I want to see if there's a shake when you're walking around and taking video as it happens when you are zoomed out all the way. And so that's what I'm testing here. I'm running with Benson to try to get the action shake feature, see how it works. This is a quick video completely zoomed out so you guys can get an idea of what that looks like. I'm gonna go into zoom 1. I'm just gonna pan here while I move in zooms. This is 2 times zoom, and as you can see, it makes it harder for me to move around the camera, so it's more focused, so it's easier, so you don't get a lot of the shake cam issue that you might get otherwise. Now 5 times zoom in. Now I'm gonna go 10 times zoom in. Video again, 4K video. I'm gonna go all the way to 20, which is the max. It's hard to keep it from moving really, really fast. Now, as I said at the beginning of the video, this phone comes chock full of new features, and most of them being spearheaded by AI. So let's look at some of these AI features to see how they work. Let's see how good they are. So here you have the video that I took that has a lot of background noise. It's in a coffee shop, people talking, music playing, and coffee being made. So I'm going to run it through the new algorithm that removes background noise and focuses on the voice and see how it works. I'm going to give you a sample of what this sounds like. In the 4K 24 frames per second setting, I'm also doing it without the enhanced speech on, to see the difference between enhanced speech and without enhanced speech. So as you can see there, we can hear the coffee maker, people talking, all that. So let's do the audio erase. And so here it explains to you what it does. Let's do OK, and let's do auto. I'm gonna let it do it itself, and let's hear it now. In this video with the Pixel 8 Pro, I'm using the 4K 24 frames per second setting. I'm also so now this actually allows me to do things manually. So I'm going to make the music as slow as I can. So I'm going to try to make it disappear. I'm going to do the same with the crowd noise as at negative 71 automatically. Let's make it 90. Now let's play it to hear the difference. Pixel 8 Pro, I'm using the 4K 24 frames per second. That was a really good job. Let's try to get rid of completely negative 100. We have the crowd all the way down. Let's try to get rid of the music too. Let's get the music to negative 100. We have speech at 100. We don't want to make it less. We want to make it the most. All right, so I'm sharing this video with the Pixel 8 Pro. I'm using the 4K 24 frames per second setting. So that's how audio erase works, and it works pretty well. Here we have a picture of 2 dogs. I'm going to move this dog. So I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to use the new feature that allows you to move things within the picture. And so this colorful icon here that you see is the one we're going to go to. It's going to tell me to tap, circle, or brush to select. Personally, circling things doesn't really work for me. Tapping things doesn't really work for me. I usually brush. And I'm going to show you how this works. If I circle that, it picked up the dog and some of the floor, and it's missing the paw there, right? So it doesn't really do a good job. Tapping does much better. It caught the dog there. And I want to move him. So now I'm going to hold him. I'm moving. I'm going to put him here. And I can make him bigger too if I want to, so I'm going to make him bigger there. Then I'm going to tell the picture or the AI that is ready to go. So I'm going to press this colorful arrow here, and then it's going to generate 4 different options of the image for me. This is option 1. As you can see, where the dog was is not there anymore. It's done a pretty good job at matching the floor there. If you get close, you can see that it's a little lighter than the rest of the floor. There was a toy back there. We're missing it there. It didn't pick it up correctly. But for the most part, if you're not studying the picture, you could be fooled that it was taken original. The part that it really misses the mark in is right here. As you can see, the dog's paw is on top of the other dog's head. And if this was analyzing things correctly, it would have deleted that paw there and would have hidden it behind the other dog's head in order to show you what it will look like if you had taken the picture in real life. Let's look at option 2. It looks the same. I don't really see a big difference between picture 2 and 1. Let's look at picture 3. Same thing. It looks the same. And picture 4 pretty much looks the same. But it doesn't fix the biggest mistake for me, which is the dog's paw on top of the other dogs there. I mean, it's a pretty cool feature, but it's not perfect. A new feature that we have here is when you're taking group pictures and you want to change someone's expression. Let's say that somebody's eyes were closed or they didn't smile big enough. And so I'm going to use here, for example, my brother. My brother here looks like he has a pretty serious face. I'm not smiling either, look like I'm scared. My sister is smiling, showing her teeth. And my brother-in-law looks like he doesn't know what I'm doing with my face. So we're going to go ahead and change facial expressions. Okay, so here we're going to go to best take. And this is going to analyze the image, is going to pick shots, and it's made some changes already. So before I made changes, this is suggesting already what changes they are. If you can see me, I'm smiling with showing my teeth here, which I wasn't. My brother's also showing his teeth, which he wasn't. So if I hold the picture here, it's going to show you the original. So look at my face, look at my brother's face, and it changes. My sister's face stays the same, my brother-in-law stays the same. It's trying to match us all. Let's say I don't like the way my face looks there, so I'm going to change it, and I have different options here. So here's the original look. This is the look that it's giving me. This is another look. So I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to change my brother's face too. This is his original look. I'm going to give him a big smile here. So this is his original one. Can go here, big smile. So I'm gonna go with a big smile. But we can change my sister too. So let's say my sister has a nice smile, looks good there. But let's say that I want her to have a more serious look. So now I have changed her smile. Here we can do like a big open smile. She looks surprised. But let's say that I want to make her look teeth not showing. Let's look at my brother-in-law. My brother is looking to the side. But I want him to look forward to the camera. So now he's looking at us. I can change his facial expression completely as well. This looks pretty weird in my opinion. But as you can see, you can tweak your picture whichever way you want to tweak it. And so now I have this picture. Here's what the original looks like. Here's what the fixed version looks like. It's a little hard to see, but you can tell that there are some differences. My brother here. So that's the original one. That's the fixed one. And as you can see, his lips. Look at his lips. It looks kind of like faded. It doesn't have that detail of his lips. But the mouth, around the mouth area looks really, really soft. You lose that detail on the beard, the detail on the lips. Nose also kind of looks like changes shape a little bit there. So that's the new best shot feature. So we can also change the color of the sky and other things with the AI feature. So if we go here and I press this colorful circle and I hold the colorful circle, it's going to give me options for sky, golden hour, or stylized. So as you can see, they're kind of hit and miss, right? On paper, they sound great, but I feel that this being a first generation device that is using these features, this is only going to get better. As you saw, there's some of these AI features don't really make a difference on your image, or if they do make a difference, it doesn't do a very good job at making said difference. Also, it has its limits when it comes to the feature of being able to move objects within an image. They make it seem so easy and quick on the demonstration and their commercials, but it really isn't like that. And I've tested other things where things just didn't work. Like it wouldn't really move the object correctly, or it would just make it look weird. So it is a good first step. It is a good marketing thing. But if you're looking at this device because of those specific features, I will say wait to see what changes are added in December with the new feature drop that they're supposed to be bringing onto this phone. Let's talk a little bit about Android 14, because Android 14 also has a lot of changes. Well, not a lot, but many changes that are also AI tied to AI. Pixel 8 Pro AI integrated into what the phone can do. And of course, we have what they're calling AI wallpaper. And so here you can go into, for example, Imaginary, and then as you can see here, it says type a word for ideas and inspiration. So we have the option of bicycle, surreal, made of flowers. I'm going to say inspire me. I'm going to say agree. A surreal lamp made of rhodochrosite in shades of yellow and teal. Okay, so now we can swipe for more wallpapers. So look at that, it gives us different choices for lamps. So if you click on a word, as you can see, it's going to give us choices. So let's say corduroy in shades of, let's say, burgundy and maroon. Let's create a wallpaper. So as you can see here, it's using the words that I've chosen and it's created a wallpaper. So there's option 1, option 2, option 3, and option 4. And so that's pretty cool. And then here you can pick other things. So another thing that we can do here is called summary. And what this is going to do is it's going to do a summary of the web page. Okay, Google, summarize. This is going to go over the article and give me key points on what the article has. And so here you can see telling us what the article's about and some other points about the article. Then here at the bottom gives us more information if we want to look for more information, or it looks like popular questions. Another way here that you can create your own wallpapers is using emojis. For example, here I have a turtle, star, and 3 clouds. So I'm going to click edit emoji. And oh, look, it's going to add. So I can delete them. So I'm going to delete this. And so we got a blank canvas. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my own wallpaper and then we'll do that. And so if I press the check mark, it's created a wallpaper and I can change my pattern. If the way I want to do it, so I can do it in stacks like that. You can make it larger, you can change colors. So let's go with that. So you have all these options. But with all that said, this phone actually was great at phone calls. I was able to hear people very well when I was making phone calls. I tried that feature to remove that background noise, and it also worked well. I will say that the Pixel 8 Pro is the first Pixel phone that really truly feels like a premium device. Now, of course, I have my concerns with AI. And I think we all should be concerned with AI. For example, that example that I showed you of changing people's faces, right? How far is that going to go? How far can you take that when you're doing things on the phone? Because as you saw there, I changed everyone's facial expressions in order to change what that picture looked like, in order to change what that mood in the picture was, what the picture could convey. People could use it to do bad things, to make somebody look bad on purpose. And so I do have some concerns about those things. That summarize feature on websites, it's in its early days, but of course this is going to advance. And so what does that do for kids and young people who are learning to do, for example, book reports or, reports on news stories? If you can just tell your phone to do a summary of what you have there, it takes away that critical thinking and everything that we have learned to do as students and as a society when you are creating a report on something. And so those are a little bit of my fears when it comes to all this AI stuff and the fact that it's so readily available in your hand. I think that we should all be thinking about those things, because in the last year, AI has moved so fast, a lot faster than people thought it would. And it's become so commonplace so quickly because, of course, money, that I feel that some of those things are not being really thought out and thought through. So what do I think about the Pixel 8 Pro? Should you get it? My answer is going to be yes. You will see the difference, not only in hardware, but software. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of features that you're going to get on your Pixel 7 Pro on Android 14, but there's a lot of features that you're not going to get because of the chipset on the phone. What do you think about the Pixel 8 Pro? Have you been able to get your hands on it? If you are someone who's planning on getting it or have questions about it, let me know in the comments section. That is it for me. Go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if it helps the channel. Go ahead and hit that bell so you can be alerted every time we have videos. And thank you very much for watching.